So here we have the hero spotlight for the brand new Alice Revamp. Previously when we reacted to Obsidia, it felt like she was actually fairly balanced. So let's see if they managed to keep that going with Alice.
Alice, Queen of Blood.
The model
With
update
this
does
revamp,
look pretty good.
Alice will no longer use mana. We've given her a passive that continuously
Whoa.
damages nearby enemies while restoring her
Whoa!
HP,
Yo, that
making
looks
her
really
even
good.
More of a... When Alice's skills deal damage to minions, creeps, or enemy heroes, she gains 1 stack of Crimson.
Okay.
Upon reaching max stacks, Alice's passive will activate, dealing continuous damage to nearby enemies while restoring her HP.
Interesting. Okay, so like this big circle that drains like HP and stuff from people used to be her ultimate, as we all know. But now it is her passive, and it is based on her skills hitting targets. So my question is, if you hit like 2 targets with the same skill, does this actually build up to full passive stacks? Or do you actually need to hit like 2 different skills? That will determine how good it is.
Passive is active. Hitting a creep or enemy hero with any skill.
That's a lot! And it looks like it's quite easy to keep it going as well.
Will renew the passive's duration. First skill. Crimson Gleam, Scarlet Shadow.
Why is it so long? Why is the name of the skill so long? It used to just be flowing blood. What the heck? What is it? Crimson Gleam, Scarlet Shadow? I'm not gonna say that during my cast.
The first part of her first skill, Crimson Gleam, launches a blood sphere.
Oh, no, it's 2 separate skill names. So Crimson Gleam is the orb and Scarlet Shadow is the teleport. Alright, I get it.
In the target direction, dealing magic damage to...
Okay, look at that. It hit Cyclops and Zilong. It actually hit all 3 of them already. You can see that it did like 3 instances of damage. But it only gave her 1 skill bar, only 1 passive bar right here. You do need to hit 2 separate skills. It doesn't matter how many people you hit. You need to hit 2 separate skills. But once you start the passive going, it looks like you can keep it going quite easily.
Alice's second skill deals damage to enemies in the target area and slows them on hit.
Okay.
If her passive is active, she unleashes a second attack that deals additional damage while restoring her HP.
Okay, so no more stun on skill 2. Skill 2 used to be a stun. The AoE looks to be about the same size as before. Is a slow instead of a stun now. However, if used during her ultimate, it is empowered and gives her more healing. So I think that is good. That's a fair exchange. Good. It does look like it'll be pretty spammable actually, and I think they're designing it so that it's supposed to be a very spammable way to keep her passive going. So they had to take the stun away, because if it was like a spammable stun, it would be too strong. Think of like Fredrin's energy eruption, for example. Because it's already 4 seconds here, and I'm gonna assume this is without like too many CDR items. So it'll probably go down to somewhere like 2 seconds if you have like a max CDR build, which is going to be very, very scary.
Ultimate. Throne of Ruin.
I like the name, Throne of Ruin. Also, holy shit, that's a big AO. That's an immobilize. Whoa, hold on.
Alice's revamped ultimate now...
CC immunity. I see that CC immunity text up there, so that's already huge. The fact that she has CC immunity is massive. It has a pretty long charging time though. Can she move? Is Alice able to move while she's charging this? That'll change how it plays quite a lot.
Provides more AoE CC. When Alice uses her ultimate, she enters a channeling state and gains high damage reduction for the
okay,
duration.
so she probably cannot move. And she also has damage reduction. Damn, okay.
Channeling completes, she unleashes a burst of AoE magic damage and immobilizes enemies hit.
Okay, that's pretty big. The fact that her passive stacks off of jungle camps means that she is still a very good jungler. And I think she'll be even better than before actually, because she will basically have access to her previous ultimate from level... You will have access to it in level 1, it's just a bit slow to build up. Level 2 it builds up a lot faster. And so yeah, she will farm faster in the jungle. I imagine she'll probably lane... Hold on, did it count on minions? I'm gonna check again real quick.
Skills deal damage to minions, creeps, or enemy heroes.
It does, it counts on minions. So her laning is also really good. Alice is gonna be a very flexible hero. She can definitely jungle quite fast. I can see her being a pretty okay mid laner. I can also see her being a pretty good EXP. I could even see her being gold. I actually think that Alice might be one of the more flexible heroes that we've had in a while after this revamp. She's got CC, she's got mobility, she has healing, her farm speed seems solid.
Then prioritize leveling up her second skill,
Yeah,
since it's her primary.
you definitely want to max second skill first.
While Alice is
and okay, look at this. Look at how slowly it goes down too. In fact, it looks like
Then prioritize
if we look at the red bar,
skill, since it's her
it actually goes back up every time it pulses. So as long as you're next to an opponent, your passive goes forever. And it's not difficult to get it going. Her best whiff section is almost definitely going to be like Tigreal, Atlas, Minotaur, those kinds of heroes, I feel like. But she probably works really well with healing supports too. Oh my god, Alice might be OP. She might fit into like most team compositions.
Alice is channeling her ultimate. She can use her first skill to
Whoa! Hold on, that's a huge QOL change.
While Alice is channeling her
cast first skill,
ultimate,
then cast ult and blink. Wow! Normally when you have an ultimate this big, you would need something like Flicker to really be able to make maximum use of it, right? Think Tigreal, Atlas, Minotaur again. But she has a built-in way of activating it, and they have specifically designed it so that it's easy to pair together. So it is definitely possible to kite this, because you will see the spear coming, and if you have vision over Alice while it is coming, you will see whether or not she's actually activating her ultimate or not. So if the blood spear is coming towards you and you see her activating your ult, you can flicker out of the AoE. You actually do have a good amount of time to flicker out of the AoE. I imagine pro players will be able to do that quite easily. But just the sheer presence of this is insane, because Alice is not really a roamer. She could probably even be played as roamer if wanted. But she works well in every other lane as well. So this is actually a massive teamfight ultimate that is not linked to like the typical teamfight ultimate role, and so you can have multiple of them, and people are not gonna have multiple flickers. Again, it seems like she's going to pair really well in most team compositions.
Top of the enemy before they can react, and greatly boosting its effectiveness.
This is going to be really scary against generally like slow mobility backline heroes. You can't play utility mages into her.
And in focus build.
Okay, so they give a utility bruiser build and one damage focus build, which I like. So this makes sense. You want clock for survivability and magic damage, and then Ice Queen's one for slow. And then after that, you just go full tank to basically stick to people for as long as possible. Dominance Ice is going to be flexible depending on what damage the enemy team is doing. And then Oracle and Queen's Wings will fit into most situations as long as you're ahead. If you're not ahead, then you probably want to lean into other defensive items like Antique Cuirass, Radiant Armor, and so on. And then you have the magic build. You have the magic build, which is Ice Queen's one first into Concentrated Energy for more lifesteal. Into Fleeting Time is interesting, but it makes sense because it did look like her ultimate had a pretty long cooldown. I think it was like 40 seconds from what I saw earlier. So this will reduce it a lot since she wants to spam her abilities as often as possible. Then you go Glowing Wand, and then you go Winter Crown. So yeah, this is definitely the damage build. You can even go Winter Crown on the Bruiser build, depending on the game specifically. Yeah, Vengeance or Retrieve for jungle. I think there is an argument for maybe going Sprint as well if you feel like the enemy team just doesn't have that much damage you have to worry about. Otherwise, yeah, it's either Retrieve for jungle or Vengeance a lot of time. You definitely don't need Flicker unless like you're really worried about getting caught by multiple things at once. But even then, you can just build Winter Crown to counter that. So yeah, I think Alice will be either Retrieve, Vengeance, or Sprint. Yeah, okay, so they didn't put Tigreal Atlas in the best wave section. As expected, healing supports are gonna be really good with her, and then Zetian obviously works well since like you can extend the immobilize. She does counter backline mages like Cecilion and Chang'e, which makes sense. Countered by, yeah, I can't believe they just said a hero with healing counters Baxia. I feel like there's an issue with that, because I'm pretty sure Baxia was introduced to be the other way around.
And she will struggle to keep her passive active, so avoid aggressive trading.
So what we can see from here is that her wave clear is a little slow in the early game. It's not bad, but it's a little slow, and she will almost definitely get outlaned by heroes like Farsa mid. So maybe it's a bit risky to play her mid. I think she's probably better suited for jungle or gold. And then in very specific situations, EXP. Like when she's playing against like a tanky EXP laner, she's probably a good choice. But otherwise, she's more of a farming hero, so jungle and gold actually makes sense for her.
Alice can bypass the enemy front line with her first skill and use her AoE damage and CC.
Yeah, she's definitely backline dive.
With her team.
And a very safe form of backline dive too.
Sustain damage to
Alright, so let's talk about this a little bit. So it looks like she's going to be very good against teamfight compositions, and she's going to be very solid against generally frontline focused compositions. She's probably a good jungler to pick into tank junglers like Fredrin and Baxia, like they pointed out, and a good EXP laner to pick into heroes like Glue or Uranus, since she's going to be able to heal off of them a lot. She's very flexible, she's good in the jungle, good in gold, good in EXP depending on the situation. Probably not quite suited for roam and a bit slow on clearing mid, but actually still possible because her mobility makes up for it a little bit as long as she's not in a straight up losing lane. A bit item dependent, so she's not going to be very strong early, but it's still kind of difficult to remove. You probably don't want to pick Alice into very high single target burst situations. I think she's probably weak to Yi Sun Shin matchup. And then if the enemy team has a lot of late game scaling, then you also probably want to avoid picking her unless you can guarantee winning in the mid game, because otherwise she will get bursted by late game marksmen a lot of the time. Overall though, I do think she's going to be very, very strong. And a hero that a lot of teams are going to pick, because again, having a hero that is not in the roam position with as much AoE crowd control and sustainability as she does is very coveted. Just the fact that we already are seeing more of Uranus and Esmeralda in the meta right now leads me to believe that Alice is going to be quite contested when she becomes available. Especially since heroes like Baxia aren't going to be the most effective against her either. I can see Alice potentially being a little OP actually. I think that she is going to be one of the heroes that actually will be quite hotly contested once she becomes available for pro play. So that's going to be quite scary. Definitely not quite as niche as Obsidia, and just generally really good, especially if you pair her with a healing support like Alice. Angela is going to be impossible to kill now because she like has immobilize, she has like slow, you get like Winter Crown, you get Vengeance. It's going to be so difficult to deal with her. I do think that Alice might be a little OP once she becomes available. Damn, scary, scary. Alright. And that is the new Alice revamp, everyone. Very cool. I do like what they've done with her, but I worry about whether she might be slightly over-tuned.